Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am so excited to be sharing with you my story on how I was able to lease an apartment here in New York City while on unemployment. This was initially going to just be a moving vlog. I took a couple clips, but then I ended up forgetting to vlog most of the moving process. So I don't have a lot of footage from that, so I figured in order to turn it into something useful, I would share my story about this process and give you some pointers if you are also looking to lease a new apartment during this pandemic. It's a process, I will tell you that right now. So just to lay out the video for you, I'm giving you this intro now. I'm going to show you my couple little moving vlog clips, and then at the end, I'm going to share my story on how I found this apartment that I'm sitting in and how I was able to lease it while on unemployment. So if you're interested in that, stick around and let's get into the video. Hello everyone, good morning. It's moving day. I'm very tired, as you can probably see and hear. It's about 7 a.m. on August 1st, and I have to be into the new apartment by 11. So I started last night taking some stuff over, and I have about 2 trips left to do. So I'm going to eat some breakfast really quickly, take my first round of suitcases and bins and everything downstairs, get that over to the new apartment. I'll come back, clean up whatever needs to be cleaned up, grab my last couple items, and then we're officially out. It's going to be a very long day. The internet guy is coming to the new place at 11. That's why I need to be over there. And so it's very exciting. I'm moving. I can't wait to show it to you guys. I'm going to miss my current apartment because it was really nice, but it was way too expensive for what it is. So I have to get going because I need to get a move on things. So I will catch you guys at the new apartment. Okay, so I am officially dead, as you can tell. I'm a sweaty mess. I've already showered, sweating again. But we are done. I have done it. I moved all of my stuff myself into my new apartment. I want to show you guys what my room looks like right now. It's just one big pile of all my stuff. But I'm happy it's over. The internet guy just came, so that is all set up, which is great. I am exhausted, if you can't tell. I still, though, need to go run some errands. I need to go grocery shopping. Oh my god, look at this. Do you see this? Truly never looked better. So I'm gonna go grocery shopping. I need to go to like a Target or something similar so that I can pick up some random odds and ends that I need. Like I need a shower curtain, I need, I don't know, normal stuff. My brain has officially stopped working. When we toured, there were AC units in each of the rooms, and I just assumed that they were going to be left, and they were not. So it is 85 degrees in here. Need to find a fan today. It's gonna be a long day, but I am so grateful for this apartment. On Monday, I'm gonna go buy some sage so that I can sage the entire place, just get rid of all the negative energy, the anxious energy. Like, I just want a beautiful fresh start in here. And I think I'm gonna visit a hardware store and pick up some paint so that I can put a fresh coat of paint all over everything. It's not bad right now, but I'm just very meticulous and I would like it to be better. So I actually want to give you guys a quick empty apartment tour really quickly. So, as I said, this is my room. I love the ceilings in here, but you can see what I mean maybe about needing like a fresh coat of paint and everything. So I'm going to do that, but this is what it looks like for now. This is our living room. The internet guy just came, bless up. So excited. Our little kitchen. Not much going on. This is the other room. Empty, cute. There's a little fire escape out here. Really cute little view back here. Spooky. And then our bathroom. Nothing special, needs to be cleaned. But that's what it looks like empty. So before we get into my story and the whole process I went through and what you may experience, I want to just give a little bit of backstory on this situation. So there are some crazy rental and real estate rules, laws, whatever you want to call them here in the city. The main one that comes to mind for me is that to qualify for an apartment, you need to be making 40 times the annual rent. So, say you're applying for a $2,000 a month apartment. That's your monthly rent. Great. In order to qualify, you would need to make 40 times that amount. So, your annual income would need to be $80,000. Kind of crazy. Never have found anywhere else that has this rule. Let me know if there is another place. But that applies, if you're a single person applying for the apartment, if you have multiple people that are signing the lease, your combined incomes need to meet that threshold. So everyone in the household, when combined, would need to meet that $80,000 mark. And if you don't, you would need to have a guarantor that makes 80 times the monthly rent. So that $80,000 then turns into $160,000. Kind of crazy, especially during times like this where there are many millions of people on unemployment. I think the last statistic I saw said around 30 million people. So New York real estate is a beast of its own, if you will. Crazy numbers. A lot of places don't accept out-of-state guarantors as well. So your guarantor would need to be from the tri-state New York area, which makes it difficult as a majority of this city is made up of people who aren't from the East Coast, aren't from New York, aren't from the surrounding areas. Apart from the rental prices and that aspect of real estate here, apartments, homes, real estate in New York City moves very, very quickly. They say that you should only start looking about 2 weeks out ahead of when you're planning on moving. Having gone through it, I would say more like 3 weeks would be a better bet, but regardless, it moves so quickly because people are always coming in and out of the city. So there's a very high turnover rate. Comparing New York to places I've lived in the Midwest. So different. I would sign leases back in the Midwest like almost a full year ahead of when we would be moving in there. Or I think the least amount of time was like 7 months ahead. And that I felt like was cutting it close. But in New York City specifically, it's about 2 to 3 weeks ahead of when you are moving. So that can get very stressful because, I mean, there are new places popping up all the time and you don't have much sense of security apart from those 2 weeks out. So moves very quickly. Like I said, real estate here is just in a league of its own. It's crazy. Before we jump into my story, I just want to set the scene a little bit for you guys, even further. So, as I just mentioned, there are around 30 million people, 30 million Americans that have filed for unemployment throughout this pandemic. That's a difficult number to envision, and so I did a little research, and if you can picture it this way, if 30 million people held hands in a straight line, that line would cross America 3 times over. Like, think about that. That is so many people that are jobless right now, that don't have a stable form of income, that, have just been so negatively impacted by this. And we're in August now, which is typically moving month. It's when a lot of leases are up. It's when a lot of people start moving around and moving into new homes. And so we're met with this dilemma of, oh, well, what do I do? I don't have a job, so I can't put any stable form of income down when I'm applying. What do I do? How are people handling this? It was really scary. It's, I had no idea what was going to happen when we started looking for a place. There's a lot of uncertainty and a lot of chaos surrounding this whole situation. And I mean, as we know, we're living through this pandemic. We know it's a scary time. And so if you are in this boat right now, hopefully this will give you some insight as to what you can do, what some of your options are, what I did. So let's get into my story. So I lost my job back in March. So right at the beginning of the pandemic, right when things were starting to get really crazy, boom, I was cut. Panicked initially. I didn't know what I was going to do. As we all know, New York is insanely expensive. And so, I didn't know if I was going to have to leave, if I was going to have to go back to the Midwest, kind of what the situation was. And at the time, my lease was expiring in May. And May was pretty much the middle, we were in the real thick of things once we got to May. So I remember getting to the end of April and being really hesitant about going out and trying to find a place in the thick of everything. I didn't feel safe doing that. I didn't, it just wasn't the time. So I worked with my previous landlord, the current landlord at the time, and said, hey, this is the situation. I would really like to extend my lease just for 2 more months, because I knew I didn't want to stay at my old apartment because it was extremely expensive. And I knew that, with not having a job, there was no way I could continue affording that. And, so that's why I didn't renew my lease, and that's what brought us here. That's why I had to search for an apartment and sign a new lease and everything, because I could not keep up with the price at the other place, especially now that I was unemployed. So my previous landlord graciously agreed to let me just extend for 2 months, and then that would take me through August 1st. So during that time where I was basically just sitting and waiting for that August 1st deadline to come, I was coming in and out of, people that wanted to live with me or that I wanted to live with. And it started out, we had like 4 of us that wanted to live together, and then things sort of fell through with all the uncertainty and like job losses and everything. And once we were coming up on August, it was just me and one other friend who was also unemployed. We worked together, so we were both laid off at the same time. So we decided, okay, well, it's just us. Let's buckle down. Let's commit to finding a place together, and then we'll kind of go from there. So we made it to the beginning of July, and me and my friend got really serious about looking at places. We were mainly using Zillow and Street Easy, and we were looking at like 2 or 3 bedroom places because the prices in New York City are amazing right now because everyone has pretty much abandoned the city. So we could find like really reasonably priced 3 bedrooms for, $2,100, $2,200, which is incredible in this city. So we really buckled down and started looking that first week in July, and we were going and touring places, and we had a good feeling because it was truly a buyer's market at this point. Lots of options, lots of great prices, so we were feeling good. And so we started looking, we started touring. We were in the first week, then the second week, then the third week, and just nothing was working. Either we would like a place and then someone would sweep it out from under our feet, like someone else would rent it, or we would tell the leasing agent, oh, we're on unemployment, but we have guarantors, and they would just ghost us. Like nothing was working. And so we started getting really panicky at this point because we're in the third week of July. Our lease is up end of July. Like we have to be in a new home by August 1st. So, it's starting to get pretty stressful. And we got to that third week in July and we sat down and said, okay, we give ourselves like a few more days. We're gonna see how many places we can go view. And if we don't find something by middle of the week, we need to go our separate ways and either look at subletting or, whatever's gonna work best for us. So we did. We went and saw 2 places. The first place fell through for whatever reason. And so we were on our very last place. It was the middle of the week. It was our last day that we said we would look. And then from here, it was, on our own. So we get to this place. I go tour it myself. My friend had a different obligation, so she couldn't make it there. So it was me and the leasing agent, and there were 4 other couples there with us. So we get to this place. We go in and it's perfect. Like it's beautiful. It has that Brooklyn charm. It's in a decent building. It has so much food and like other necessities around it. It's in a great location, really close to the subway. Like this is a perfect apartment. And so I knew like during the showing that yes, this is ours, like we want to apply for this. So while I was in there, I was really talking with the leasing agent, like what information do you need? How can we apply? All of this, because I knew, there were, just at this showing alone, there were 4 other couples with us, and I didn't know how interested they were, but clearly like this is not going to be around for long. And so this was our last shot. Like, it is either this or go figure something else out. And we wanted to live together. Like, we're friends. We know we have like similar living styles. We just knew it would be a good fit. So we get home. I get home and I send my friend all the information. We get our paperwork together and we send it in, and then we wait. And it was kind of difficult at first because they weren't so sure like how to handle the unemployment situation. Thankfully, they didn't just ghost us like a lot of other places had. But they went back and forth with, oh, you need another guarantor, or we need this additional information, whatever. It was just very messy. It was very unorganized. So we spent like a good week almost going back and forth with them. Like, here's this additional information. Like, what more do you need? At this point, we need an answer of either yes, you're approved, or no, we're rejecting you and we're going to move on. Because whatever their answer was, we needed to get our situation figured out. Like, if it was a no, that's fine, that's sad, but if it's a no, we need to know that so that we can handle our own stuff. So we get to, honestly, it was just a couple days before August 1st at this point, and my friend gets a text from our leasing agent that the landlord wants to meet with us. He wants to just meet us in person before approving yes or no, which seemed weird. I've never had to do that before with any, rental or, whatever it may be. But I thought, maybe it's just one of those strange New York rental rules, right? So we set up a time and we go and meet with the landlord, and when we walk in, they just hand us a copy of the lease and said, okay, you're good to sign, like, here's everything, read through it, and then you're good to go, which we kind of looked at each other and we were like, oh, I thought, this was like an interview type thing, but they handed us our lease and it was a done deal. We got to move in August 1st, and now we are here. So it ended up coming together right in the last second, which it was so stressful, but it ended up working. And so if you are in this situation right now where your lease is ending, or you just need to find a different place to live, but you're still on unemployment, I want to give you some advice on how to go about renting, especially if you're in New York City, because that's what my experience was. I'm sure this advice applies to all cities, since New York seems to have the craziest and strictest rules. So if you do these things, I'm sure you're going to be very well set and prepared for whatever city. But first and foremost, if you're looking to rent either individually or with a group of your friends, I would say first things first, get your guarantors in order. If you have access to guarantors, make sure you have their information. You need to know their annual income, so you need some pay stubs. You can use bank statements. You'll need copies of their identification. You need social security numbers, like all that sort of stuff. Ask as many people as you can, as many people that you have in your life as you think would be willing to help you. Just ask. It's best to have this all done ahead of time so that when you do find a place, you can just apply immediately. Like I said, real estate moves very, very quickly here. So if you have all of your documentation in order ahead of time, you're going to be so much more prepared than the competition, and you'll have that much more of a chance of actually getting the apartment you want. So if you have access to guarantors, get that information in line, start asking around, see if anyone's willing. I know that I'm very lucky, my friend was very lucky to have people in our life that could act as guarantors. I know that's not the situation for many people, especially when it's that 80 times income requirement, which, a note on that, you can usually combine multiple guarantors to meet that 80 times threshold. So if you don't have like one specific person that makes that, you can typically combine people to meet that number. But if you don't have someone or some people in your life that are willing or able to do that for you, there are third-party guarantor services. That's what I used when I initially moved to New York. So it's worth asking the leasing agent or the realtor, the landlord, whoever you're in contact with your prospective apartment. Ask them if you could use a third-party guarantor system. It's typically just a fee of like 1 month's rent, which if you have no other options, that's not a bad option. So that's worth checking into. If none of this works for you, you still have options. I would say the next best thing would be to sublease from someone. So there are lots of like housing groups on Facebook. I started looking into this around that 3rd week in July mark to just cover my bases in case, our individual apartment wouldn't work out. So for New York City specifically, I'm a part of Gypsy Housing, and I think it's just New York City Rentals. And I will leave a link to those for you guys in the notes or in the comments on this episode. But join one of those groups and then just browse through the listings. There are so many people right now, especially in New York City, who are just leaving and need someone to take over their lease for them. So search through those. Typically, you don't need a guarantor. A lot of times, especially right now, you don't need a specific income requirement. So there are lots of options on there, and especially Gypsy Housing is very affordable. I'd say most places on there are between $800 and like $1,100 for a room, which in New York City, as we all know, that's a very good price. So definitely check those out. That should cover it for you. One of those will work. Either you'll be able to kind of finesse the situation with an individual apartment, or you'll be able to sublet from someone. If I can do it, you guys, you can do it too. It just takes patience and trusting that something will work out. But you do have options. It's not going to be easy, and it's probably going to be very stressful for several weeks at least, while you're in the thick of like paperwork and figuring out, what the landlord will allow and what they won't and whatever. But, as long as you have your paperwork in place, as long as you have, some proof of income, you can use unemployment as proof of income. So you don't have like $0 of like annual income. There's something you can put down. So you have options, and know that we're gonna get through this. It's a crazy time right now, and once you make it through this renting phase of your life, you'll probably never have to do one that's as difficult ever again. So that's good to know. But that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please leave them for me in the comments below. If you liked this video, go ahead and subscribe to my channel for more videos about New York City or fashion or lifestyle. I'm a pretty multifaceted person, so there's lots of different content coming your way. And with that, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.